The following live broadcast is rated ESV PG. You don't know what's going to happen on here, neither do we. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ear, Shoulder, Voice. On tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about growing pains. That's right, not growing pains, grown pains, and how those constantly can affect people in different ways. Bringing back different memories of childhood and teenagers, real reactions to children in peril, and of course, a few special segments of Gabe's Wait, They Did What Now, the B-side, and Couch Potato on there, and our past life. But more importantly, whatever you want to talk about, that's what we're going to be here. So screw our topics if you want to, because you are the main aspect of this show. You guys ready?
Ready.
All right, let's do it.
Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere. Gather together, always together.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Ear, Shoulder, Voice. I am Keith Litvin. So glad to have you all here right now. Of course, this is another one of our open forum shows, and the open forum is all about you. If you want to talk about something, that's what we're here for. You can engage us at all anytime you want during the chat. We'll respond live. But if you just have something on your mind, whether you just got a new promotion at work or you saw a movie that really scared you, whatever it is, we will make that one of our topics just to talk about it live with you. But don't forget, while you're here, to like, share, subscribe, and follow Ear, Shoulder, Voice on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and probably something else I've forgotten there. But we're there on all those, and you can live chat during the shows as well. But again, we have an open forum here, and an open forum isn't really good with just one person, so why don't we bring in that panel? Our first panelist tonight, of course, he's like a staple for the ESV shows. We love having him on here, especially our open forums. Please welcome back Anthony. Anthony, how you doing?
Doing well, Keith. How are you?
I'm absolutely amazing. Here we are, yet another Sunday.
It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, I should say I'm doing fantastic more than amazing, though.
Fair.
Because there's a difference in the two. People don't know it, and my friend John actually taught me the difference. Is fantasy is derived from or fantastic is derived from the word fantasy, which means not real. So if anybody says I'm doing fantastic, there's probably something else there to watch for it.
That's interesting.
And that's some of the pains I'm dealing with right now. We'll get into some of that later. But what about you? What about you? Anything exciting happened lately?
I brewed beer for the first time.
Howdy,
Saturday.
Danny.
It was a
Oh, did you? So is it ready?
no. I gotta wait.
How long you got to wait?
A week for the first fermentation, and then I think a week for the second fermentation, and then I bottle it, and then I gotta wait 2 weeks after it's bottled to get carbonated. So
Hello,
it's a
Pam.
process.
Welcome to the show. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, it's not too long, I guess.
No,
But
it's not too bad. But
Are you going to turn this into some business out of your garage at some point?
no.
Oh, well, you
Just-
might. If it's really good, you might want to.
I'll
You got a
think
career waiting and don't even know it. Work for Drew Carey. All right, we're going to bring our next panelist. Please welcome back Elena. Elena, how's it going?
Wonderful.
Just wonderful, just amazing, just fantastic. Which one? I told you there's a difference.
I think wonderful.
Wonderful. That's good news on there.
I'm still waiting for my picture to be on the title sequence, though. Like, I've been on the show enough times.
Drana,
My
good to have you
picture's not up
back.
there.
Good to have you here, Drana. How you doing? So what has been going on with you this weekend, or this week in general?
I was over on the east side, and I got my engagement pictures taken this morning. And it was really cold outside, so that was fun. 8:30 in the morning. It was 36 degrees outside, and I was in a tiny little sundress for an hour and a half. It was so fun.
Well, it sounds like it's Michigan, so it doesn't matter. It's going to change, and you're
Right.
like way north in Michigan, so it's
Yeah.
definitely can change frequently for you. Glad to hear that, Drana. Glad to have you back on the show. Angela's here. She says hello. Before I bring our next one, Drana asks, what's today's topic? On Sundays now, Drana, we do an open forum. Is it Drana or Drina? You told me before, and I totally forgot, by the way. We do an open forum, so it's anything that's going on in our lives, but more importantly, anything going on in your lives. Any topic you bring up, regardless, we will be glad to discuss. All right, that is what the open forum is all about. We're going to bring in our next panelist right now, our final panelist, Gabe. How's it going?
Good. How are you? It's going
I'm-
fantastic.
All right, so you're on the same side I am right now.
Absolutely. It's been a long week.
It has. Why has it been a long week for you?
So I have been dealing with a kidney stone for the past month or so. So Tuesday, around noon, I came back something fierce, and I couldn't even walk at lunch. So I had called in for the rest of the day, and reading up on it and everything like that, you would think, okay. They say that as soon as it hits your bladder, it's that's the end of back pain. So I thought
no.
it had gone to that point. On Friday, I discovered that was not the case because it started around 9 o'clock at night. And like you, I wasn't able to lay down or anything. So I was already exhausted at that point. And I didn't get to sleep out of pure exhaustion until about 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
So
God. So
in the morning, around 8:30, my wife had left to go to her job, and my kid was watching stuff upstairs, and I'm sort of half asleep from just being purely exhausted, and I just hear screaming. So I run upstairs, and I run to the bathroom, and it's like a crime scene. There is blood all over the walls, all over
this
the
is a good start to our
sink.
show right now. Not
Right?
for the meek.
just from a nosebleed. Okay,
Oh, my gosh. Okay, that helps.
so she's had nosebleeds before. The wife is very good at handling it. Meanwhile, I'm on 3 hours sleep, in constant pain.
Kidneys.
She's freaking out, so I'm freaking out, and it's just back and forth.
Oh, boy.
So usually I'm pretty good at handling situations.
Not that one,
Yesterday, or on Friday or Saturday, it was not one of them.
I'm sure. Gotcha. Pam says this has been a long year. and you're absolutely right. It's been a long year for everybody. So
Yeah.
what about you? What's one of the biggest impact this year's had on you, Pam? Just curious. As we talk on here, anything you guys want to talk about, anything relates to anything or even unrelated, we're here for you. That's what we like to do. But you were bringing it up, and I said we are going to talk briefly about growing pains on here, which is
And
something I
growing
think
pains,
a lot
'cause-
of us. And
Growing
growing
pains
pains
suck.
Yeah, growing pains. At least everybody tells you growing pains are normal, and you're going to get past them, and you're going to be fine. Everything. Growing pains are like, no, the next step's death. Enjoy them. You know.
Well, they're normal
And
though.
they're
Pains are
normal, but-
they just never go away.
But you get to be. You're told growing pains eventually leave you, and well, grown pains, no. You're like, I'm going to get better for what?
It's just old pains.
Depending
They are.
on
Well,
whether-
Because that's been partly me. I'm like kind of, I want to say bedridden, but I'm more chair ridden right now because my sciatic nerve just put me out. I'm done, and all I can do right now is sit. I can't stand. I can't lay down without discomfort. I can only sit, which is the opposite of the problem I had at the beginning of the year when I had the exact same thing. Then sitting was the bitch, but standing was fine. And so many things are happening, and I keep wondering, does it go away? Do we feel better at some point? Is there like when you hit old age and your body just says, we're just going to numb for now? So anything that happens, you won't even feel, you won't even notice. I mean, we don't have the right people on here for that, but maybe we have somebody else who does. Anna says women have groin pains monthly.
Facts.
It's a different type of pain.
Totally different pain. But yeah.
They actually did a study recently, and menstrual cramps can be just as bad as having a heart attack, pain-wise.
Oh,
So that's fun.
yeah.
That's good
No
to
one
know.
look-
I think you already knew that, though.
At least it doesn't
You've
come
had
around
them.
much.
Well, just for the longest time, men didn't believe women. So then a man did a study and said, "Oh yeah, it's as bad as a heart attack." So now men
course.
think it's bad now.
No, it's still not bad.
I'm gonna come to your house once a month and just repeatedly kick you in the balls for a week
The
long.
getting kicked in the balls though, that's
And other
some
pains,
pain.
too, if men are around. Hey, 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 hey. Oh, that's not very nice, but so true.
Touche.
We're glad to be those pains. Other pains. And
Someone's
they are.
gotta be.
Well, you wonder who's going to be the worst pain. Like they say pregnancy is bad and all that. And I imagine it is. Elena's here, but Elena, you don't have any kids.
No, I've never
So,
been pregnant.
yeah, so we don't have to worry about that with you. But I say
Yeah.
it's harder on the guy for sure. Listen
Yeah.
to all of that.
100%.
Oh,
Going
yeah.
through it. I mean, don't get me wrong. The women have their moment of delivery, and God bless them for
No,
getting
but
through
like the
that.
whole pregnancy hurts. It's not just the delivery.
It
it's
hurts
the whole
for men
time.
too because we have
Oh,
to
does
listen
it?
to it.
Oh, I feel
Right.
so bad for you.
You should.
You
For
did
us.
it. That's what I'm saying.
For
Like
us.
I tell Brandon all the time. I'm like, when we start having kids, like you have to listen to me bitch and moan because you did this to me. Like
It
it's
was
your
a
fault.
joint effort. You also have to take 50% of the accountability there, miss.
True.
He's
Right.
not
Two to
getting
tango.
50% of the pain.
Well, he is because he's got to listen to you complain.
No,
I'm sorry, you
absolutely
can't
Some
not.
would
blame
say that would
somebody.
be-
You can't blame somebody for entering your house if nobody chose to lock the door.
It's true.
So
You both signed the lease.
yes, exactly.
So I deserve 10 months of pain,
Well,
We get
and then
18.
48, and then 48
years.
hours
but see,
of
that's a choice.
excruciating pain.
That is a choice that
Bill's
you make.
here. Bill
Correct.
says the
To
pain gets
raise
worse.
cannot-
his child.
You cannot be mad at the man for making that choice that you want to have his baby.
It works both ways, though, Anthony. At some point, because the
I know it
man's
does.
making
I'm
a
just
choice
being an
too.
ass. I'm just being an
But-
ass.
Anthony just likes pissing me off. Like that's what it is.
But it still ultimately would be her fault.
Yeah.
Because she could just keep that door locked and say, I can do it at my house. You're not coming in until you wipe your feet.
Exactly.
She could say the same thing.
Wear
Bill says
booties.
the pain gets worse as you get older, and that's what alcohol is for sure, Bill.
Cheers,
It
everyone.
definitely
take-
helps. And Pam says, I find that the emotional pain I encounter is way worse than any physical pain. I actually want to touch on that because that's a good point here. Pam, one of the things I dealt with recently was, I mentioned it earlier at the start, I was bringing back memories. And this is a really weird situation the way it worked for me because I was having a dream, and it was probably the most realistic dream I've ever had in my life. No time gaps, no different places, no nothing weird. Like, it all flowed out completely perfectly. And I was looking to move, why I don't know. And I looked at one of my houses that I had in Warren. I'm like, you know what, it was a lot cheaper. I had so many great times, but I don't know if I want to do that. And the person with me, when I'm finding this place, she goes, well, you did have the best times ever. And I'm like, yeah, but that was, I was in my 20s.
Right.
At that time. And I woke up. Now, the minute I woke up, I pretty much was in tears the entire day. Because something clicked and something hit me really hard about that these memories, they're not coming back. These times of your 20s, enjoy them, Elena, are not coming back to you. And I chose a career path that disallows me to grow up. And I have a friend, we'll call him Jay, his full name rhymes with Tosh, and he also works in he also works in the bar industry, and I believe he's going through some things right now as well, because when you do, you're constantly surrounded by 20-year-olds. You have the party life of 20-year-olds. You stay up all night, you go to their house, they come back to yours, you just enjoy it completely. And
That's why I'm your friend.
one thing pandemic proved, though, is when you take that away, you don't know how to fully adult. You know how to be a responsible adult, but you don't have the family and the kids and all this stuff around you anymore because you've devoted your life to everybody else. And that it took me a good it took me a good day to get over this, and it's really sad because I do think the best times of my life were in there. And I've always tried to keep those memories alive, and I don't think it's possible anymore. Go ahead, Gabe.
As someone who's married and has a child, it's no different for us either. I mean, you have more responsibility as far as not getting completely annihilated all the time and things like that, but that childhood sort of the yearning for that, it just never kind of leaves. You always feel 25. You're always going to feel 25. And it's everybody's guessing, man,
Yeah, but you have the family there is what I'm saying. What I mean by You don't grow up out of it. I don't really know how to say it exactly, but
Sort of the
it's
people
because
around
of
you are-
people like you that people like me get that feeling. Because you have the family and the day job, so you're not one to go out all night. And you think back to your 20s, that was the party time.
Sure.
So it's not the loss that you want to do this.
Right. It's you
It's the loss that
evolving
there's no
into-
one else to do it with you.
Sure.
So that's pretty much my take on that really quickly. We got a few comments here. Side question from Danny. His major, he's known as Bonsai to my friends, jumped in the pool yet. He's been in the pool. It's my dog, by the way. But I don't think it was voluntarily. He fights with the other dog, and she often pushes him in. Bill says working in the bar ages you before your time. I only believe that partly, Bill. Because I do believe working the bar does age you, but it ages you in a snap. Like, you stay young for so long, and then the next thing you know, you're old. You're no longer. And as you're working there and as you're growing up, and there's probably a few fields like this, but as you're doing it, you don't feel you're any older than the people you're working with, than your clients. But unfortunately, they hit 28, 29, go their own way. Younger people fill in that gap, and you're stuck in that same rotation, so you always feel that age. But then it's really quick, and I think that's what's happening with my Tosh with Jay friend. Is he really quickly got out of the business. Pam says, and it's hard to try to feel like you have a purpose when you no longer have kids, a family, or a partner. That's something that I've reflected on too, and I look like, is it too late? Now, kids I have, sure, but I don't have anything else. I don't have a partner. I have nobody around or anything like that, and I'm not the only one going through this. Now, mind you, I love my life. I love entertaining people, but the purpose is important. Has anybody here, even in the chat, ever felt like you just didn't have a purpose or you've lost your purpose? No.
I mean, I could relate
nobody.
to that.
Well, then you're one of the people I'm talking to.
Well, just because, like, I don't have, like, a set career path right now. So it's like I'm a nanny, and I nanny 3 kids, but, like, I'm not going to nanny these 3 kids till the end of my time, you know? Like, they're going to grow up, and then, like, maybe I could find a new family. But, like, I don't know what my future holds as far as my career. So, like, that's how I can relate to that. That's just, like, the opposite of that, but, like, with my career instead of with my family. Does that make sense?
Pam says that memories, some are better left in the past. Now, do not get me wrong. There's some shit I did in my 20s that I do not want to remember. And in high school and all that. So I agree with you on that one. There's memories I don't want to have. But there's a lot of memories that just, you look back and you realize those were the best times of your life. Angela says, Angela used to live up here in Michigan where I did and missed the good times at Kit Kat, one of the bars I work at, and my euchre parties, which were a regular thing. And I was doing those up into my, into probably 30s, mid-30s or something like that. And I had people all ages coming around, but eventually it did change. And I miss it too. Those were the best nights too. It was once a week, but it was something worthwhile. And every time I try to get it back, as Anna says, it's never too late. But it kind of is, because the people around you make it impossible to pull these things together again. And it's not their fault. It's totally mine. But it is true. It's very difficult. But this goes for people who often work night shifts at jobs, work in restaurants for a long time. It's not just the bar scene. I just relate to the bar scene a lot. And I'm sure people who like work at National Coney Island or something like that late night, yeah, they're surrounded by kids their entire life, and they have a hard time dealing with it. We got a lot of comments here. Bill says, when you're 55 and they still expect you to be the bouncer, and the guy is 25 years old and 250 pounds. I agree. I was like, I'm not 55, but believe me, when I first started, I went into my bar from a bouncing job. I used to do bouncing, and they just assumed, well, you can be our karaoke guy and bounce people too. Thanks for that one. Anna says, yes, that's why she went back to school. Even as a mom, I felt lost. And I thought about doing something like that. So obviously you guys don't have a lot to relate inside of the being lost and missing those times. Anthony, years are coming up. I know, Gabe, you can't tell me you don't have anything to say about missing those times.
I absolutely do. And that's sort of one of the definitely the downsides to settling down or whatever. I mean, we don't get me wrong. We partied a ton, and we had a great amount of memories and things like that. But in our experience, it's not so much that it's purposeful. It's just everybody gets, whether they're married or have kids or not, everybody just sort of moves on eventually, you know? So getting, even getting people together for that is just not as easy as it used to be. I mean, my funnest time of late was going to your parties, you know, before all of this hit. It was like, oh my God, this is, I remember what this feels
That's what it is. That's the
It's
catch.
like,
It's
oh
the
my
I
God.
remember. I remember what this is like. And I've always had it in my head that, well, I'll just work hard. I'll get my house done and time's going to come back.
Yeah.
And it hit me with a sharp realization. And usually dreams don't do that to me. But it was like, they're not coming back. And one of the things I also realized, though, the reason you have those memories is because one time you saw a good future. And you wanted to create them. So it's my fault to think that they're not coming back. Because to see a good future, you can still create them. They'll be different. But every
Right.
memory we have was different at some point.
Everyone lives many, many lifetimes in one single life. Many different sections.
And going before we continue on, Pam says, I feel like I'm wandering around life and I'm lost. Pam, I don't know how old you are in here. I do think that's something we get as we get older. For some people, it happens really early. Some people much later. I also think that's kind of career-based, and I think retirement for a lot of people has a lot to do with it. Obviously, nobody here is yet retired. Usually we have panelists who are. We just don't tonight to discuss that with. But it's when your life makes a big change. And what I had just said about my dream, Pam says she's 49, by the way, so you're getting... Okay, so I'm definitely understanding where you're coming from on that. And there is such a thing as like the midlife crisis, and it goes for everybody. It's not always a thing of trying to be young again. It's just not knowing where to go. It's much easier to find goals when you're headed uphill than, in the saddest way to say it, when you're going downhill. You know, you're over that hump. But I have heard from a lot of people that your 50s is like when it starts. Like a lot of people, when they hit 50, their kids are grown, and that's when they want to have fun again.
You can relive your 20s.
Yeah, that's
My
what
parents are
that's
doing
what
it
I've
right
heard.
now.
Yeah. That's what I've
for them.
heard. I mean, I heard that once you hit, 65, 70, it's going to dwindle off again, but you can still have so many years ahead of you to have fun. She also says that I feel like I'm breathing but not really living, if that makes sense. Yes, that makes total sense, Pam. That's been how I have felt probably for the last few years. And it's really weird because I know I make the world happy. I do. Like everybody
You do.
around me, I make happy. I'm an entertainer. I'm not blind to the happiness I create for people. I understand that. But I feel like her. I feel like I'm breathing and going through the motions. We have a show coming up called The Monotonous Life that you might be interested in as well, Pam. I don't remember the exact date. I think it's sometime in May. And it's about that. It's where you feel you're just going through the motions and you're
Right.
not enjoying anything. And this made it harder, the pandemic.
For sure.
Way
This
harder.
Made it so much
this
harder.
Pandemic made a lot of things very, very
Because you really like it. I'm going to go back to some of the other ones, but I'm enjoying talking to Pam for just this moment here. I make everyone happy as well. We had an early show, Pam. We didn't have a lot of followers when we first started. We're definitely gaining them now. But it was called Big Heart, Heavy Mind. And it was pointing out how those that spend their life making everybody happy go through the hardest change and usually can be the most unhappy inside. And it was a really rough topic, and it was actually the theme that brought on Ear, Shoulder, Voice to begin with. And I think when we get older, it gets even harder because we look back at our life and where we're happy we made everybody else happy, those people went on and had their lives.
Yeah.
So we've lost the ability to make them happy, and we want to continue to have fun in life, and we don't know what direction to go. Anybody got a suggestion from that? We'd love to hear it. And as Bill says, the virus is part of it. Being alone for a year changes your thoughts. You guys are really quiet. You can interrupt me. I know I talk a lot.
For me, sometimes I feel like in those situations you have to kind of take a step back, and although you're making everybody else happy, you got to figure out what makes you happy, and you got to kind of be selfish to a certain extent and figure out what makes you happy and work on that the same amount as you make everyone else happy, if not more at times. That will definitely help. And if you're not happy for a certain, for too long, it's going to be more difficult for you to have that kind of exude happiness to people and make them happy.
Yeah, Bill kind of goes along with that. Said the virus being part of it, being alone for a year changes your thoughts, and I'll be the first one to admit that I'm not the same person.
No.
I have
not
self-reflected so much that I have to now try to be happy.
Yeah.
I never had to try to be happy in my life, and I know that's going to come back. But that's also the thing. When you spend too long, like you were saying, ignoring yourself, Anthony, you spend too long making other people happy, you build that up, and you're building more sadness inside. The problem is a lot of us don't learn that lesson until we're experiencing it.
Yeah, well, and it hit me during the pandemic when I was by myself for so long.
But
And I was
aren't
just
we,
like, this is
aren't-
crazy. I don't know what
aren't
to
we
do.
aren't we all just way better at
It's
taking
Drina, I
care of
remember
other
it.
people
Drina.
than we are ourselves?
Yeah, and the 50s is
I'm-
the new
Yeah.
20s. I hear that. I hear that, by the way, Drina. I think the 50s is the new 20s from what I'm hearing. I'm not there yet, but I am ready. My back and my body is not, but if it's the new 20s, I'm making a comeback. You better be ready for it.
Just drink lots of water.
Going off
And-
of what we were just talking about with how going through the pandemic's changed you, I am a completely different person than I was a year ago.
Yeah,
a year
that's-
ago, I was working 60 hours a week at a restaurant that I hated. Then pandemic hit at the end, September, I think. I walked out of that place and was like, "Fuck you guys! I'm gonna figure it out. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna figure it the fuck out because this place sucks and it's toxic."
That's
And I
going to bring
moved
another
across the
topic,
state.
Drina. I'm going to go through the last two and go back to your topic, Drina, because that's going to bring another conversation on there. Making everyone happy except ourselves, Pam, and that's exactly what's happening. But we'll learn, and you also said drink lots of water. I'm old and pee all the time as it is. That was my suggestion on the last show, was water. Water's key. Believe it or not, though, this is... we're not medical professionals here, but drinking more water can make you pee less.
Yeah.
Not a glass.
It regulates your system.
At first, it sucks because you're peeing every 5 minutes.
Yes.
And then once your body gets used to having those hydration levels, it's like, okay, I'm cool with this. I'm going to hang out.
And I fail a lot of times at doing it properly. But when I do it and I continue to drink the water on a regular basis, I have more energy. I want to do more stuff.
You wake up feeling better, all that good stuff.
Bill asked when the next sex show is. We're probably looking at in the summer. We'll probably do one.
I want to be a part of that so bad.
You were shirtless.
You better be, because the last time we did a sex show, Bill was all excited, and all my women canceled. So
I'll be there.
there's nothing worse than 4 horny guys talking about sex
Yeah, it's weird.
Were you topless?
and trying to engage.
I think it's sad.
For Bill, I was.
Sad's the word.
Yes. Now I want to go to Drina's comment, which she asked, how do you date during COVID?
Tinder.
How? Do you really want to meet these people?
Yeah. Do you meet them in person? And
I mean, I met Brandon on Tinder. We went to outdoor dining. Because it was in
You
the
what? You
summertime.
met Brandon after the pandemic started?
Yeah, I met him at the end of July.
Oh, okay. I thought you
So
had
what?
met him. Knew who
So
you
what
were.
are the logistics for all of that? I mean, COVID just hits, right? Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
you're fearful a
Yeah.
little bit.
A little bit.
Not too much though.
Well, I
So-
was still working full time, so it was hard
I
to be
gotcha.
afraid when I still had to go to work in a gross restaurant.
So did you have to experience any of sort of the protections of masking and things like that when you first introduced each other?
Well, like I said, we met at a outdoor dining restaurant. Where I didn't even have to walk into the restaurant. I just went and sat down.
I got you.
So when we met, we were both maskless.
Okay.
Sorry,
That makes sense.
Angela. I wanted to point that out really quick. I forgot to get to that comment. Angela, so sorry. Nobody's heard of Euchre. It's the best game in the world.
Love Euchre.
I did too. But what are the secrets to dating during COVID besides that? I mean, I understand that around July, June, restaurants started opening with provisions. So there was a way to. But it is really hard. I have that problem. Well, first of all, I don't like dating anymore. But when I'm trying to date, COVID does not help. I met somebody like a week before, and it ended because I couldn't communicate. And I don't know how to entertain anymore. And I've learned that also. I'm used to people, like if I want to date them or I meet them, I take them out. I show them a good time.
Yeah.
And then I show them a good time. And I was like, but I can't now. And I'm like, I don't really know how to entertain at home just being me. And just being me is totally enough, but I've never been in that situation.
Yahtzee.
So I feel like I'm disappointing them, and they're having the time of their life. But I don't know how, because I'm like, I want to do stuff. I want to go do random shit. It rained outside with one of the girls I was dating. I'm like, come on, let's go play in the puddles. She didn't. I broke up with her. Because I'm
As
like,
you should.
Rightfully so.
I'm like, that was your test right there. You got to be spontaneous and do fun things. But there are things that you can do like that, and going to parks, which are really nice. Talking is important. Constantly communicate, because it's only been a year, and it's been a fucking long year. Either way you look at it, it hasn't been that long, but yet it's felt like a forever time, a period of forever. But it's worth waiting for if you keep that ground communication going and you keep talking to them. When you do get together, it's going to be an experience like most of us have never had, where you just talked for a year and then finally got to do something. Yeah. And you can find out a lot about a person. One of our panelists, two of our panelists on here actually kind of communicate that way. Let's move in. Drink lots of water. Bill, Drina says to Drina, call me. Drina, do not call Bill.
Don't do it. Don't. Do it.
It's a trap. You do not want to talk to Bill. All right.
It's a trap.
Thank you to Angela.
Picturing Star Wars.
Drina says, please, I meet people, but how do you entertain now? And that's been my problem, too. I'm an entertainer by career. But you're right. And that's what I was saying. When it comes to dating, I'm used to doing things to entertain everybody else. Mm-hmm. Even when I have... Anthony is one of the local people here, and I know him from the bar and stuff like that. They come over on a random occasion and just want to have a party. And a year ago, I would have been down in the life of the party. And now, and this is how I realize how much change I've gone through, I'm like, I don't know what to do. You know,
it's okay, we'll entertain you.
It's a weird feeling. No, we still have fun, but I've been the center of attention my whole damn life.
Yeah.
So when I lose that ability, I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
Well, and one thing I will say, when we do decide to surprise you, we're not really looking to have a party, because we're too old for that sometimes.
If you surprise me, as you found out, it can instantly be a party if you're the right person.
True.
Because motherfucker surprises me coming in out of the hot tub, and they're in my house with Josh's wife, who's never been in my house before, and I'm just walking in like I always do. I ain't wearing shit. I'm like, hey. Okay.
At least you had a towel handy.
I did. If it was just you guys, I wouldn't have cared, but I'm like, I didn't even know that was Nina for sure. Because I just seen her from a distance when she first walked in. I'm like, okay. Bill says conversation is overrated.
False.
No, it's not. Mm-hmm. Conversation is not overrated. That's what we're doing right now. That's what everybody should be doing. But for Bill, I understand why it is, because they're not going to be around in the morning, so it's a waste of your time on there. But going back to the entertaining for how long, we all still keep living life crossing paths with strangers. And we still are, but most strangers are assholes now.
Yep.
No matter which side they are, because they're going through the same stress we did.
Yeah.
And we have. And a lot of them are moody, they are sad, and they need an outlet to take it out. How has it been? Has anybody made new friends during the pandemic? Or are you pretty much stuck to your old ones?
I'm trying to think.
Minus boyfriends, relationship, fiancés.
Pretty much have the same core group of people.
Well, I met all of my now fiance's friends, so.
Bill says, Drina, I have a vaccination card just to let you know.
Jeez.
Drina, that's not for COVID.
However,
do not
that's
call him.
That should be on dating profiles now. If I was on a dating app, that would be on my profile. I'm vaccinated. Hit me up.
Yeah. Got all my shots.
Right.
Pam says, exactly, I totally agree with how hard it is. I guess that's what I mean. I want a fucking life. Movies, walks, dinners, making new
Right.
memories.
Normalcy.
My God, movies especially are a big one for me because that was, I've said it before, and that's what I miss most about pandemic. It was a go-to.
Yeah.
Movies was always a go-to for me because if I didn't know what to do, let's go see a movie. And even if
I
I was
hate going to
alone
the
sometimes,
movies.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Hate
There's nothing
I
like
can't
the theater
stand going to the
experience.
movie theater.
I want to go to
Why?
a concert.
I
so
have
bad.
a 75-inch
wait for
TV and
Oh
a
my
sound
God.
and a surround sound in my living room. Like I can watch a movie in my pajamas,
Your TV looks like this big compared to a theater screen.
but I'm way closer to it. So like, who cares? And I get to like lay on my couch and cuddle with my dogs. Like it's way better. And my snacks are
I
cheaper.
disagree.
Nah.
There's definitely something to be said for the movie experience. But the other thing, you want a fucking life, I agree, like walks and dinners and making new memories. Well, I'm gonna promise you, Pam, those new memories will happen. They're probably not gonna be like what you're expecting, but the new memories will happen. But the walks you can still do. Dinners, it's a little hard depending on who you're dating and how their outlook is on the pandemic. Some people don't want to, and I respect either way, however you are. But it does. It cuts into it. Cole Orton's back. Hi, Cole. He says, treat every day like a job interview and you can't go wrong. Treat every date like a job interview and you can't go wrong. It depends how much information you're trying to poke and probe for. 'Cause but in a sense, put on your best and you can't. But you can if the other person's an asshole, because you got to watch who you're dating too. The hard thing with dating right now, especially with pandemic, you don't have the best people willing to go out and meet you. You know, most of the good people, and I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but they're trying to respect boundaries and other people, and they don't want to get people sick. And so you're really cutting your choices out.
So
And the other ones just want to get laid.
That's why
So
being
to them,
vaccinated
COVID is worth
a
getting laid.
selling point.
Yes.
So as single people, has COVID changed your, like, is there any underlying thing, like a sort of, because the one thing that COVID has sort of, the lockdowns and everything like that has done, has sort of subconsciously
I want to
taught
go back
us
to this
not-
comment. Because really quick, before I
Sure.
go further, because Drina has a vaccination card and she responds with, I have a gun. So that was great. All right, go ahead, Gabe. I'm sorry.
Perfect response.
So, has COVID sort of made you more paranoid or untrusting of just strangers in general, and made that sort of complicated right at the beginning of these situations?
Nope.
No,
That's a good question.
everybody's cool.
I mean, I'm not as concerned about COVID as most of the people are,
Sure.
right? But I'm a kook to most of those people. So
Well, you are. Well, you have your right to be. People who are not as into COVID, I don't think they're wrong for that, because I do think there are ways that COVID is blown up too far.
yeah,
To an
Yeah, there's
extreme.
too
But I
much.
also think to be blinded of its reality is a problem, and vice versa. It's also not as bad as, killing everybody that comes in contact with it, which is what some people make it sound like.
yeah.
So you can have that, and I don't think it's wrong if people decide they want to go out during COVID or not. I just think it's wrong to bitch at other people because they don't believe what you believe,
Live,
regardless
let
of
live.
which side. So back to the other things on here. Oh, sorry. We'll go to Drina first. So knowing whom I've encountered isn't knowing who you've encountered. Trust the unmasking or not. I'm assuming you're referring to being online or meeting people talking in person versus not actually knowing who they are. And that is a problem with the whole social media and everything like that. You don't know a lot of people. But you can often gauge them a little bit. And sometimes it's easier through conversation, but not by what they say, by when they don't say, when they don't talk, or when they don't say something. I'm going to get there. Oh, my God. That's down the list, Bill.
Wait, I didn't see it.
We'll get to those comments in a minute. But and what they don't say, so you can get a good feel for you. Basically, if you end up being on the phone or texting or whatever for hours, you probably got something there. You're communicating if it's a regular thing. But watch out for obsessiveness too. Sometimes it can be too much. Just whatever makes you comfortable, you'll know the difference. Can you be wrong? Yes. But there are people that meet people in real life who end up getting married and find out their husband was a serial killer. or their wife was, or something like that. So
I
if
hope
it's
that's
hidden,
not my case.
no, I don't think Brandon's going to
Next week's
find out you're a
topic.
serial killer for a while.
Yeah.
You're good. He's not going to find out for a little bit.
Am I
Yeah.
dating
Yeah.
a serial killer?
Be safe. But I mean, I should say trust the unmasking, but be ready too. I mean, you know, you got to prepare yourself as well, because it might not be everything it's cracked up to be, but if anything, maybe you can pull a great friend out of it. I mean, that's something to look forward to. Pam says some new ones, but people are so fake these days. Some people, she's made some new friends, but people are so fake these days. And yeah, I agree. People are way too fake. And that's another thing I blame social media for, because everybody's gotten so used to being able to be somebody else.
Yeah.
They don't know how to be themselves. But it's still worth a try. And friends are good. Friends are probably the best thing more than dating this year, honestly, for anybody. It's nice to date or get engaged and then be ready to be married, Elena, in a period all during COVID. Good job. I mean, good progression there. But friends are the most important, because friends are who you need to reach out to. Sometimes trying to get a date, especially early on, if you did during this pandemic, it'll actually strain your relationship because you can't see each other. At the same time, you want to keep that communication going. It gets harder because the more you fall for somebody, the more you want to meet them.
Video chat.
Anna met a new friend in school. Good. I mean, hey, that's one. It's hard for a lot of people, too. Theaters still shut down over here on Michigan. No, they're not shut down anymore. They might as well be. I haven't seen, like, a crowd in any theater at all. I went and I saw King Kong.
I saw that too.
Some of these movies, though, man, it's like they haven't exactly been producing a whole lot of hits.
Hey, King Kong I thought was fantastic, Godzilla vs. Kong.
Not
It was cheesy, it was stupid, it was exactly what I expected out of a Kong movie. It wasn't bogged down with the story that let the other ones down. It wasn't dark where you couldn't see shit. They gave me monsters fighting.
Which I
And when you
enjoyed.
go to see a Godzilla movie, you go to see
That's what you're
monsters
gonna get.
fighting.
Yeah.
I'm sure the CGI
The other ones I
was
thought were
awesome,
stupid.
too.
It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Like, when I saw the previews and trailers, I thought it looked awful. And then when I saw it in the theaters, I'm like, actually, it's not that bad. You can see some issues, but they're on a limited budget. Bill says, I go fishing and meet women all the time. And then they get the hook out and they leave. Extinct. Cheers, Extinct. Good to have you on here. Drina says, no, I love people. I love to talk. I'm a hugger. Now I'm not. And that took away too, Drina, because I'm a hugger too. I hug everybody. And I still do in my friend circles, but I don't just hug everybody anymore, because first of all, I can throw them off. And again, I don't want to get people sick. But it's all going to come back. You know, you're still going to get to love people. You're still going to get to go out again. Too many people are looking forward during this pandemic and being like, this is just going to last forever. Life is going to change. It's never going to be the same again. No, our thought process isn't necessarily going to be the same again. We hopefully will be wiser. We will be smarter. We'll be more cautious. And we'll do something that we should have done since fucking grade school. Wash our fucking hands.
People still aren't.
I know they aren't.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
But hopefully for some people, they will, and they'll change that. But it will come back. It will be back to normal. I would have faith in that. I don't know how much we're going to get to with the other topics we were going to talk about, because this is going good. Pam says, wasn't trusting until I met someone that wasn't who he portrayed himself to be. And that's where online is hard. I honestly don't recommend online. But it would, even in person, you are both masked, you are 6 feet away, whatever you've got to do, you can still talk to people. And I think it's refreshing to get people to talk to each other, because too many people are moody assholes right now. You can't walk into a store. If you don't wear a mask, you'll get looked at. If you wear a mask, you'll get looked at in a lot of places out there.
Yeah, everyone's
People-
desperate to reconnect.
Yes, they're moody, angry little bitches. So you can break that, you know, and talk to them for a minute. I've talked to the people even at my gas station that work there. Sometimes I just sit back, we talk for a half hour or so, sitting there while they're working, because they need contact. Everybody is moody, but for a reason. This is built up. Cabin fever has set in on these people, and it's not like they
Everybody.
escaped instantly. They're slowly opening the door to the outside world.
Yeah.
They're not suddenly seeing it all. So it's hard. And Drina says she still talks, but at a distance, which is good. And you will find people. But make that move and say, you know what, this is weird. I really enjoy talking to you. Can we just talk again sometime? I don't care if it's the same sex, a different sex. You're looking for sex friends, whatever. just try to get a connection there. It'll make your time so much better, because the odds are, no matter who you pick, they're longing for that as well. Those that believe in the virus, those that don't, those that believe in masks and don't, all have the same core thing. They're isolated. They're alone. They want communication again.
Can I touch on that really quick?
Okay. Thank you.
I have a friend that as soon as he had like just moved out to where he was living at like when the pandemic hit, so like he had no friends where he was living, and like basically no human contact. His work went to at home, all of it. And when everything opened back, and he went through a really hard breakup at the time, so like he was completely isolated. And when everything opened back up, like he went to go get a haircut, and he tells me, he's like, when that woman was washing my hair, I literally started crying. It was the first time someone touched me in 3-4 months. It's like, I don't blame you.
Sure.
Like, you've been stuck at your house without any type of human contact at all.
Right.
And
Like, I
that's
was
what it is
fortunate
for a
enough to
lot
be
of people.
going actually to work. Like, I say that, like, I was fortunate because I still got to see humans.
Bill says he had more sex with women in the last year than I have in the 2 years prior. Oh, wow. 2 people, huh? Cool. And
I was gonna say something bad, and I won't say it.
oh, go ahead. It's
Yeah.
Bill.
But I don't actually know Bill, so I don't want to be mean.
It's fine.
You know Bill.
I don't know Bill. I've never met Bill.
See,
Bill's a
Drina
strong individual.
Drina's continuing with, at a distance isn't personal, it's stranger to stranger for a long time. That is something right now we can't get away from. So we have to make a change in what we're so used to doing. And we have to make it personal. That's why you take that, and if you like the conversation you're having, ask them to. Ask to talk. Ask to be able to text or give them a call sometimes. Because they're probably looking for that too, and they're feeling likely the same way we are. That's one of the problems we have, is we're very selfish in our thinking. Go ahead, Gabe.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I mean, going sort of expanding on that, it's like nowadays the common courtesy is to text each other, and that's sort of how you communicate. I think, if anything, in this point of time, we need more phone calls where you have that human connection. I saw on a radio show, they were talking about how it's actually considered rude now to leave voicemails.
Yes.
When you should just text people. Yeah, everybody considers it rude now. So I
Fuck
think,
those people.
Younger
Right,
generation.
fuck those
I'm,
guys.
Mostly
I'm leaving
younger
a
generation.
voicemail.
but go back. I think that's what we need to do, is go back to, even if you can't get in touch with people or see them face to face, at least if you can hear them, you can hear their intonations, you can really make that connection, as opposed to texting back and forth without
Well,
any
more than
context.
even voicemails that you're talking about, people don't want to make phone calls. They would rather text than talk in person anyway. Using
And
their voice.
I'm not like that at all.
You're one of the
Like,
rare
I would
ones,
so
though.
rather... I would so rather talk on the phone. First of all, the conversation, it's not going to take 3 hours to have a 10-minute conversation. So I
Right.
like that. And it's just like, you get that person-to-person contact. It feels like you're actually sitting down and having a conversation, not just like texting.
And you're right, too, because like if you text somebody like, hey, what are you doing Thursday? Not much. Why? What's going on? Well, I was thinking about going out. Oh, yeah? Where? Well, we haven't decided yet, and trying to type this all. It's going to take you an hour.
Right.
Versus picking up the phone and say, hey, Thursday, you want to go to Dave & Buster's? Okay, cool. We'll see you then.
Okay, bye.
You know? I'm like,
But you can also sense the excitement in that delivery. It's like,
Yeah,
hey, you want to go
absolutely.
out? You want to have some fun?
It'll be
You
so
wanna
much fun.
Do something with your
Yeah.
life, as opposed to just, hey, which one?
and that is, so going back to it, of course, as Drina had said, you got to take that step. We are selfish in our thinking because we believe that we are the only ones feeling that way. It's human nature to do that people don't understand how you're feeling. But I do say, when you ask that person, do you want to communicate sometime in one form or another? Do you want to go, and just chill outside and have an ice cream or something like that? Even though that's kind of date territory. But little things you can do safely, and the odds are they're going to be just waiting for somebody to do that for them. Just like the odds are Drina, you're waiting for somebody to do that to you. And I'm waiting for me, and we can put it out there, and we can be the one instead of waiting for it. Pam says, well, Bill, sometimes it's not always about sex. It's about wanting more out of a relationship. Pam, put Bill in his fucking place. Thank you.
Get him, girl.
All right. That's right, because it's not always about sex. And during this time, it should not be about sex. Sex is great. We all love sex. Most of us kind of.
Sex is very important.
That's all right.
But not
No,
when you're
it's
getting with
very
friends.
important.
No, it's not.
I enjoy it.
Not for friends.
No, not for friends, but I'm
meet
saying in a
friends.
relationship, sex is very important.
Of
Oh,
course.
for a relationship,
Oh, relationships.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
But yeah,
is,
with
but
friends.
the sex isn't good. Well, the sex can be good for some, but for a lot of people, the sex isn't good unless you're into the person you are dating.
Yeah.
That you're in a relationship with. It makes it so much better. Bill says he got married last year, then I got sober. Bullshit. You did not get sober. And Trina says, I saw a close friend a week ago, and because of COVID, it felt strange. No hugs. No, how are you really doing? Strange. Another close friend flew in because of that distant strange encounter. I don't want to see her. Is that wrong? No.
No.
And I ran into somebody recently at the bar at when I was working there on Thursday, who I hadn't seen in a while, and I instinctively wanted to give a hug.
Yeah.
And they still gave me a hug, but the hesitation and the reaction was like hurtful almost. You know,
It
it's
makes
it's a
you
rejection
uncomfortable.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes it so I don't want to see some of these people, even though I miss them dearly.
Sure.
Fortunately, you know, May 1st, I get my second dose. I'm going to feel a lot better about this, and I think a lot of us are once we're fully vaccinated. Some people won't, and that's fine. Some people don't get it. That's fine, too. That's ultimately your choice. Angela said the governor is lifting all COVID mandates except masks on June 1st. I do believe that's going to happen a lot of other places. I think that some of them are going to maintain a 6-foot thing or try to and keep the mask in effect for a while. It's a step in the right direction. We can bitch about it, or we can just hope that it's going to be more steps in the future.
Wait, is Angela in Michigan?
No, she's in one of the Carolinas. That's what I'm going to say every time.
Oh, okay.
Can't remember.
I was going to
which
say,
one.
we're having a spike right now. I was surprised to hear that.
Yeah, no, she's in one of the Carolinas. I forgot. Bill says, how about those Red Wings?
Nice deflection.
Pam, I'm very proud of you right now. You got Bill to deflect to something else. Anna says, all you need is love. Great song. And it's true. But love is confusing for people. Love doesn't necessarily mean relationship.
There's different kinds of love. And I feel
Yes.
like
Love is a many splendid thing.
yes.
Yeah, it is. Angela says, I hate doing the online dating thing. I'm so over it. Like, as soon as I put a single on my Facebook profile, all of a sudden, nothing but dicks in my DMs.
You need to block people.
I'm
That's
thinking.
disgusting, and I'm very sorry that that's happening to you.
Yeah.
I am. Well, you're down in the Carolina. You probably only got like 3 people that live in there. I think it's a very rural area. So, but no, that's the online dating thing. It's hard because whether it's Ask, whether it's Facebook or anything like that, that's what 90% of the people are on there for. They want to fuck.
Right.
They're not on there for a relationship or get to know you or talk or anything like that. You know, they want to fuck. So you're going to get dicks in your fucking image, or you're going to... Why don't women do that more? Anyway.
Because it's gross. Because unsolicited.
They're smart
Well, I was
and
just
not
about to
perfect.
say you're going to get women
is
doing that
gross.
too. I was about to say you're going to get women doing that too, and I was thinking like, you know, they really don't as much.
Yeah.
They do on occasion, but not as much.
Well, and if they do, you probably don't hear about it because most men would be like, "Ooh, okay,
Ooh, tits. Ooh, tits. Ooh, tits.
boobies,
Ooh, tits.
boobies."
Ooh, man tits. Safe.
Yeah, the guy would just be like, first one. It's like, oh, there you go. Okay, click. Ready.
All right. Cole Orton has a question for us. Do you think introverts are immune to the effects of social isolation?
No.
No.
No, I think it hits them harder. I don't know if it hits them harder. That was probably wrong. I don't think so. I don't think it hits them harder.
Not at all.
But I don't think they're immune to it. Introverts rely on people often coming to them.
Yes.
And they may never admit it, but when they don't come to them, they miss them.
It's in those moments because I'm heavily introverted. My lifestyle didn't change at all with COVID, with the exception of not going out on Thursday nights. That was the extent of my life for the most part.
You say that, but that's a huge change for you because what was Thursday
Right.
nights?
It was my 1 week of release. So in that time, that even though I'm very introverted, in that those moments, you need, you do want the connection. So you definitely feel that when it's not there anymore, because you like to have control over when you choose it, but when you don't have the fucking option, then it's like you feel lost. Sure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Most introverts that I've ever met, and I'm by far an extrovert, but most introverts that I've met, they want to socialize. They don't want to be introverted. So when they have just those few couple of people that are around that they're comfortable with,
Right.
it's the world to them. And the way it could be harder on them is if we don't have our friends around, we'll go out and make more.
Yeah.
If they don't, they won't leave.
Right.
So I think in some ways it can be a lot harder. What about anybody else out there? Do you think introverts are immune to the effects of social isolation? I'll go back to a few comments from the previous topic, and we'll get back to you, Colort. And Angela agrees that text messages are so emotionless, and sometimes people take things the wrong way. All the time with me, because I am a very flirty, out there person when I talk. And I'm also very inappropriate and politically incorrect in every way. When you do it through text, though, definitely they get the wrong impression. I get so scared when I'm texting people. I'm like, I'll read back my text message. I'm like, well, this could have been interpreted like 3 different ways. 2 of them could land me in jail. So I gotta like verify what way I meant, especially if they don't text back in a little bit. I'm like, oh my God, I just offended them. But if I said it in real life, they would completely know.
Yeah.
What I'm
I
trying
get
to
asked
say.
if I'm angry all the time via text message.
And
I
Pam
thought you
says,
were mad
"Don't-"
at me last night.
Yeah. Are you mad? No.
Yeah.
Why
Well, I
do you
didn't
think
say
I'm
are you mad, but like I thought you were, because I blew Anthony off last night. I was like, hey,
Oh,
I'm
so this
really
is a real
tired.
thing.
I got-
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, I got pictures at 8:30 in the morning. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it out, and he just responds, okay. I'm like, so you're
All right.
pissed?
But that's what
like,
comes out.
what do you
That's
want me
what
to say?
the thing is.
What am I supposed
Just
to say?
like,
Okay.
Because
no
here's the
problem.
problem.
See you next time.
Well,
No,
that's
but
a
no,
lot
because
more
even
difficult.
even okay is I could be like okay,
Yeah.
or I could be like
Alright.
Right.
okay,
You're guessing intention.
Yeah.
okay.
Exactly. That's why I didn't respond, because knowing
That's
Anthony
the
is a
thing.
human, I'm like, you're probably not mad, but you might be. So like, we'll just
Didn't
leave
really
it at
think
that.
twice about it.
I figured.
Pam,
Like
Pam
initially,
said,
I was like, "Oh, Anthony's pissed."
again, don't get me wrong, I fucking love sex, but it doesn't mean I want to screw 100 different guys. And sex
That's
is a
fine.
very
It's
enjoyable
healthy.
thing, and it's something that you're right. It's an important part of a relationship, Elena, and it's an important part of life too. You know, we're not in that society of abstinence anymore. People have sex; it doesn't really matter.
Sex
On
is
there.
great. Do it as much as you want, or don't do it as much as you want.
But
Whatever
one of the
you want.
things that
It's your own
changed a
body.
lot of people, I do think that people realize, or some people probably realize, that sex isn't as important as it once was, because they miss the companionship more. They miss sex, but they can still have sex in their own home if they want to, or they
That's
have
not the
options.
same.
Were you
for it.
pointing to
Your
like?
girlfriend Jill.
My girlfriend, correct? Boyfriend, girlfriend.
Miss Michigan.
They're interchangeable.
Yes, depends, hand to hand. But I mean, we have ways to pleasure ourselves, and they're realizing that we can get that, but we really miss the communication, the connection that we have with somebody else. And sure, the minute we meet somebody, we'll get that connection and fuck them immediately, because that's the society we are. But people are realizing how important it is, I think. I hope. I don't know, because people are weird. North Carolina, Angela, why do you even bother to tell me? I'm not going to remember.
I'll remember that.
I'll remember if
Probably
I.
I'll
someone of us
remember.
will remember.
Pam says she don't sugarcoat bullshit because it's still bullshit at the end of the day, and that's how you should always be.
Yeah.
Don't ever sugarcoat bullshit to anybody, because they can take it. People want the truth, but they don't want the truth in anything. They have pre-decided what they want to hear. If it doesn't match what they want to hear, they're not happy with it. So give it to them bluntly. That's what I say all the time. Don't sugarcoat anything. Hi, Jan. Catching the tail end? Yeah, well, it might be the tail
Jan.
end. Who knows? This is going pretty good right now. Angela says, I blocked them right away. And yes, it's pretty rural. This is about all the dicks she gets in her DM. But there are a lot of guys here. I figured there was actually a lot. Maybe less women. But that's what you should do is block them. But they said you get them on Facebook.
Report them too, though. Like, report them also, because that's fucking disgusting.
That's, definitely report them, get them off of there. Because if they're
Unsolicited
doing
dick
it
pics
to
should
you-
be
It's
illegal.
crazy.
If they're doing it to you, they're doing it to so many
isn't
people.
it? It's not.
It should be. If it's not, I don't fucking
Yeah.
know.
I don't think it's illegal, actually.
Isn't it sort of indecent exposure at some point?
It should be. Like, I didn't ask to
Yeah,
see
but I
your
think
genitals.
I don't think it is because you have to select to view that message, and there's a big thing with like social media, just like the whole thing with certain people getting kicked off of,
That's the gray area of the
it has nothing to do with the law. It has to do with you signed up to use a service that allows this, so you have allowed it.
Yeah.
So
It's
there's
still
nothing illegal
gross.
about it. I agree.
Well,
it's
of
still
course.
gross.
Of course,
I mean,
yeah.
no one's denying that.
Well, we need to do
Dicks are
something about
horrible.
that then. Well, I'm not saying dicks are horrible, but I don't want to see random dicks in my DMs.
All dicks are horrible.
That's not the point.
My dick's a fucking saint.
Not
Like,
100%.
how would you feel if you just, like, opened up your DMs and you saw an unsolicited, like, flaccid dick pic?
Well, if they're sending flaccid pictures, that's just wrong.
Right.
Either way!
You're not even putting in the
Nobody
work.
likes a flaccid one.
Right. You're not even
Gotta
putting in
have
the
a little
work.
pep in the step.
Oh my god.
Okay, how are you offended by that? But yet people go to Pornhub and shit to see random pictures of different things.
Because I wanted to go to Pornhub to see that. I didn't want to go to Facebook to see dicks.
Well, then get off Facebook.
Like, I went to Facebook.
There's a lot of dicks on
called
Facebook.
dick-
You signed up for Facebook. If you happen to see
That
dicks
that
on
infringes
Facebook,
on my right to speak
No, it doesn't.
freely.
Angela says it's a good mix of
That's
flaccid
what
and
other
hard.
people said when someone else got kicked off social media.
All right. Anyway, moving on. Jan says, when I'm playing Facebook games and some guy send me a "Hey babe" message, I hang up. I don't need pickup lines. If "Hey babe's" the best they got, then yeah, hang up.
Yeah,
that's not
that's-
gonna be very
Yeah,
good.
that's not even worth your time.
Yeah.
They're not
Well,
even trying.
there's something picking up people. People try it all sorts of places, but
Unless
it's hard
it's-
to pick them up.
Unless it's followed with "take a walk on the wild side." Then maybe.
Geez, you sound like you were describing me when you're describing yourself. Which one of us?
Be
on
more
there.
specific.
We usually have our names up, but we have comments, so the names are never showing, or else they'd be there. When we have comments, the names disappear. Bill says, text can't hear your voice and see your facial expressions. Back to that one. Absolutely true. Expressions are important in any kind of conversation. Me, myself, and Hermie. Hermie. I bet you Hermie takes batteries. I think, I'm just guessing, Jan, but just the way you said that and based on the previous topics of this, I think Hermie takes batteries. Or if you're one of the good ones, maybe it's gas
They
powered.
recharge.
oh god,
No, the plugins work great.
Oh, God.
No pull
Good,
chains.
you got a 2-stroke motor on it.
good idea with blocking them there.
Don't forget to prime that shit.
Don't say white trash on here. Oh, Bill, poor Bill. Don't say white trash. Yeah, Bill's still sore because one time he actually typed the word. We were talking about TV, and there was a Roseanne episode called "White Trash Wedding," I think, or it was "White Trash something," and he actually said it in the comments, and he got blocked for saying "white trash" in the comments, not by us, by Facebook.
Wow. But you can send.
But dick pics are okay.
So this is what you do with the dick pics, right?
Ha! I have a self-serve in my drawer. That's Hermie. Go ahead.
Yes.
So, if you get multiple unsolicited dick pics, right? When they send them to you, they give you their, okay to do what you want with them. So you compile them and send them all to the people who gave dick pics. So they have
Make a
nothing
nice
but
collage.
unsolicited dick pics back. They send
That's
you
fair.
one, send them another one, and then they'll probably stop.
I would think.
I would
Hopefully.
find it ugly. Yeah.
I
I've
will
done
say
that.
one time in my life, this is like, I loved that I did this. I got an unsolicited dick pic, and I literally sent one back, like saying it was mine.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Like
that's
the
what you
best thing
do.
I ever did. Never heard from them again. It was perfect.
That's all you got. This is what I'm.
You should
packing.
have two.
Finally.
No, like I
A
sent them
massive-
the biggest dick I could find on the internet. I'm like, well, you're fucked.
There goes that PG
It's
rating.
a little small there, bud.
It was a good time.
Angela, I'm going to get to Cole
For
in
sure.
a minute. Angela
That's
says,
good.
why is the vibrator song in my head now? Because it goes buzz, buzz. Because you used to sing that song.
There's a vibrator song.
Yeah, it's called the vibrator song.
Huh.
Pam Sealy buying batteries is easier than dealing with shitty guys. Yeah, it is. I'm not. I got no
Anthony's the
defense
first
on
one
that
to be
one.
like, yes.
Fair.
Guys are well. I say the same thing with a guy. I'm like, a hand is better than dealing with half the women out there, and it's true for either sex. It really is, because trying to deal with the opposite sex is insane. Because we're women are bitches.
Yeah.
Guys are just
And
assholes.
men are douchebags.
Right. I mean, 100%. And it just depends if you have enough stuff to outweigh that fact. It's not that I found the guy that wasn't a douchebag. It's not that I found the woman that isn't a bitch. It's that yeah, she's a bitch, but yeah, he's a douchebag, but
But he's got all this other cool shit going on.
Cole Orton says, I never understand why men send dick pics. Just seems like a way to get blackmailed or something.
Right.
I've had a problem with that for a long time. Go ahead, Gabe.
Oh no, I just did it right.
Yeah. What really hurt in this field, because people were doing it all the time, and people were using it for blackmail, and people were using it for anything like that, and proof. And then suddenly a company came out called Snapchat.
You mean Snatch
Snapchat.
Chat?
Yep. And Snapchat. All right, that works too.
Filtered.
And that kind of ruined that whole idea, that ability to be able to
Oh,
blackmail
you can still
people with pictures.
screenshot.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, I am so reserved as far as and paranoid about not getting anything personal online, especially
Yeah.
my dick.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
It
that would be the
takes-
last thing I
That's
would just
me.
want to put into the cloud. You know what I mean?
It takes
You know-
a lot of courage to do something crazy like that, especially on Facebook, where your name and your information is attached
Right.
to that dick.
Is
Like,
it
Exactly.
current
Like, I know
show?
your birthday. I know where you
Yeah.
work. Like,
all of your family is on your friends list. I could just send it to them and say, "Here's his penis."
I can
Yeah.
send it
Yeah.
to your employer. People list their employer on Facebook all the time. Like, you're dumb.
I mean, I literally, well, people know this. I obviously strip for a living, but I do not send pictures of stuff like that. Because, first of all, with phones, I fear it's going to auto-upload to my albums on Facebook or some shit like that.
Right.
And every once in a while, I'll open Facebook, and I'll just see a pop-up says, do you want to load these pictures? And I'll think it's loading. I'm like, just because it flashes, like, no.
Right.
And I get scared. The way you take one picture, it is no longer just on your phone. It's in the cloud.
Right.
It's on Google services. It's on
It's
a
everywhere.
lot of places from that one picture. Jan says, hubby heard Hermie one night. Okay, wait, before I finish, I've got to know, Jan, why Hermie? Came and investigated. I mean, the only Hermie I know is the one from Rudolph. Hermie,
I want to be a
the
dentist.
dentist, yeah, from Rudolph. Is it because he's chipped your teeth? I don't know, maybe.
Does it sound like a dentist utensil?
Anyway, Hermie, he came and investigated and left the room. See? Gotta. Oh, that's... Bravo for you. At least, hopefully you continue to. You know.
Yeah.
Because I ain't stopping. If I'm in the middle of anything like that and somebody walks in the room, I'm like, you can stay or go, but I'm finishing.
Yeah.
I'm busy.
Make up your mind. You walked in on this.
In or out.
And in and out and in and out. Oh, sorry. Here we go. Angela says, being this is a small town, some of the guys I see in person, awkward. So it is that small
Print
town.
them out and hand it to them if you see them. Keep a folder on you.
No, just, yeah, you
see them in
should. Yeah,
person,
you
I think
should.
this one's yours.
Like, hold on. I think I got a picture in here. Is this
Yeah.
your? No. Okay. This one? No. How about this
It's like
one?
guess who.
That's
It's like
yours?
guess who,
Yep.
but with penises. Is this your penis?
Nope.
Nope, not that one.
Oh, this one is? I gotta go.
Just apologize to them. Just say, "Oh, I feel so bad for you. I'm so sorry.
When you
It's
see the
like they
person,
think-
just walk up to him and go, keep moving.
Sorry, bud."
It's like
No matter
because
what
they're
it looks
facing
like.
it. I don't know who sent it. Well, you said they send it through Facebook too, Angela. So yeah, you obviously know who sent it. And then
Right.
that's got to be so awkward. Do they even recall doing it like this woman's? Or are they proud of it at that point?
Oh, I'm sure they're proud.
Some sick, deranged fucks are probably proud of it.
I think some
Men
are. I
who
don't think
send
others are.
unsolicited dick pics are proud of themselves.
Okay, Jan's going to be busy after this show, I think, because Hermie's
I'm
on
happy
the
for
brain.
you, Jan.
I'm
Fucking
very
get
happy
it.
for you
Get
too.
it, girl.
And Angela says, "Haha, I love that." Oh my god, you guys are crazy on here. which I absolutely love.
Parental guidance suggested.
All right, so we're gonna hit another.
You should have knocked that up a little bit there, Keith.
A little bit.
Some of our
No.
shows are PG, just not today.
PG is fine. Parental guidance for a show that pretty much swears. We don't kill anybody, and most of the time, and we don't have pornography most of the time. So PG
We
is
just
pretty
talked
good rating.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just talked.
PG just pretty much insinuates that A will be drinking possibly, and there's probably going to be language.
Possibly. We're always drinking.
It depends on the panel. So,
I'm always drinking.
and Angela said I should start telling them they need to get checked out.
Yes.
Oh, that would be
That's a
awesome
good
if you
one.
pulled out one of their pictures too. So, what is this ring here?
Have you seen the doctor yet?
Just like
I'm
zoom
concerned
in
about
on
this
some-
mole on your balls.
Zoom in on something that doesn't even exist and draw an arrow and be like, but what about this? Like, even if there's nothing
Don't.
there.
That brings me back to bad memories. Don't.
Then don't send
there.
dick pics.
No. Oh my God. You know, we used to have a person at my bar I worked at the Kit Kat Club, and like I said, I strip, and I used to wear boxers before I got into the bikinis and thongs later on. And unfortunately, one thing I didn't realize, of course, wearing boxers, that sometimes when my leg goes very high, not everything is in place.
Gravity works.
Correct.
So the wonderful waitress we had, and I don't care, her name was Jeannie because she took the picture of this. And she
That's
caught it at the
appropriate.
right moment. And then she blew it up and zoomed in, printed it out, and started to show it to people. Say, guess what this is?
That's just
At
mean.
the bar.
That's like
Yeah.
actually mean. Like, that's bullying.
I
Especially
mean,
if
it was
they're
mean, but it was
consulting you.
funny.
Yeah.
And I am one who asks this. I will get in on humor if it's humor. I'm not one of those that
that's-
everything has to be.
It's
But-
very subjective right there.
Well, you
Because
couldn't
like if
tell
I
what
go
it
to a
was.
strip
Kind of
club,
like-
like if
yeah,
I go to a strip club, men or women, I am not allowed to take pictures of those people.
Well, yeah,
You know what I
but
mean?
If it's not at a strip club, then
And I mean, she wasn't like
No, but
handing it
still.
out, but yeah. I thought it was. I
you
thought
can
it was
take a
funny,
joke, Keith. So
but there was a little bit that yes, it was mean. Don't get me wrong, but you have to, even when things are mean, you're not going to be happy unless you can still see the humor in things.
That's true.
And if I would have done
Like,
it, or I would
dwelling
have seen
on-
it, yeah, the way if
Dwelling on
if,
it's not going to make you feel better.
if it had been somebody else who did it and showed it to me about somebody else, I probably would have laughed a little
Of
bit
course.
when they told me. So
I
if
wouldn't have.
you're laughing thinking about it.
Yeah.
So
Because
if
I know it was
would-
you. And I
Oh,
know
so
that
it's-
you're not upset about it.
But I mean, this was also years ago before everything had to have a
back when
serious,
everything wasn't so PC.
right on there. I don't think it was mean. I think you got to find the humor in some. Well, it was a little mean, but you can be mean and find humor in things too.
No, but I'm just picturing if like that was me. Like if I was at a bar and wearing like a short dress or a short skirt or something, and I bent down and like someone took a picture or something
Right.
and blew it up and showed it to people, like that's mean.
Well,
Right,
that's
but if
it's
you
a
were
different
on this-
scenario,
But if you were in the bar and you were the stripper at the bar, or you were letting it all hang out to a point and something like that, and that's a different story. That's
Well,
not
no,
just
because you
somebody
were
random
still-
invading privacy.
No, because you were still wearing your boxers. You weren't purposefully letting it all hang out. You know
well,
what
by
I
But
mean?
it all-
stripping, you're kind of taking
Right.
the risk of letting it all hang.
Yeah.
out.
It all comes down to
you know.
If
whether
she'd
or
have
not.
snuck under my desk and got a picture of my balls and blew it up for everybody, I'd feel a little bit different about it.
That's fair.
But that's what it comes
'Cause I'm
down
sure
to.
a lot
Is
of people were videoing it. 'Cause
that's what it
it's,
comes
an
down to.
entertaining thing.
Is are you okay with it? If you're okay with it, then
Then it
fuck
doesn't matter.
everybody else. Right.
Yeah, but
It's
I think
your
it's important for a
genitals.
lot of people to start
Right.
seeing things as humor again. But I get where you're coming from too, and there's that protective side that people have too, where they want people to see it was mean. I actually want to go to that for a second after we say Elena is so cute. Jan says.
Oh, thank you.
Now I don't remember what I was saying. Now I said I wanted to get to it, and then I got into the.
You got distracted by
Just say
Elena's
it.
cuteness
Yes, I did.
I'm adorable.
I did.
I'm
But-
drunk, sorry.
and modest.
Do you think there's something?
I don't believe that.
I can be modest at times. Look at how hot my
There's-
neck
I was
is
talking
today.
about the drunk thing.
There's something to be said I want to ask about when people do what you guys just did. And I'm not saying what you did was wrong in any way. But somebody like me who finds this completely humorous, and then I find somebody else telling me it's mean. Do you think that can be damaging to constantly do that to people who thought they were having a fun life and now have to look at it differently? Like it was a mean invasion?
Potentially,
No,
yeah.
And that I wish a lot of people wouldn't. I don't think you're wrong in doing it. I get why you say that. This is an open show. You can say whatever you want. But I think a lot of people are wrong in doing that. They'll take something that nobody ever saw a problem with, and this goes to a lot of culture recently,
Sure.
and they'll tell you you should not find it funny, and you should be offended. And it's one thing to do it on a large scope. It's another thing to do it to individuals,
Yeah.
or humored, because if I wasn't the amazing, marvelous, wonderful, terrific, fantastic, unbelievably beautiful person I am, I would actually look back and be like, all these people were making fun of me this whole time. It was just to be mean and get the best of me, something I thought was one of a funny moment. I don't feel that way, but a lot of people do. They're easily taken there. Sometimes let people have their humor. I wish a lot of more people would do that.
I feel like people just need to, if whoever's the subject matter, right? If they're okay with it, everyone else
Right.
should be okay with it.
Exactly.
That's
Right.
it. That's
And
what I
just-
mean.
Now that you put it like that, I do agree with you. Like, I should have changed my wording, saying if that were me, I would have thought of it this way.
Yeah, and
I
I'm
mean-
I'm not saying what you did to me was wrong, but people do it instinctively to other people sometimes. They don't realize
No,
it.
yeah, absolutely.
And
Well, they put their own sort of, their scenarios and things like that when they don't have a picture of the entire situation in the first place. So they do, I don't think it comes out in most situations a place of maliciousness. I think they're trying to be protective of you. So definitely you don't want to get too close into the whole cancel culture situation where everything is just everybody's offended by everything right now. But when you do have friends and things like that and
Yeah.
they tell you a story, they don't know how you're going to react, so they will throw something out and then sort of see how you gauge it.
But I mean, what Elena said was actually a good way to say it too. Even if she'd have come off the way she did, to come back with, well, I mean, if it was me,
Yeah.
I would
Right.
be upset.
If I was
Or
in that
something.
situation, this
You know,
is how
I
I
would
would
think
feel
that
about
was it.
that. Yeah.
But again, it was 10 years ago, and literally 10 years ago, things were allowed to be funny.
Yeah, well, and it reminds me, I saw a video online a while back now, and this guy was wearing a sombrero and a poncho, right? Like traditional Mexican garb. And he went on a college campus and asked kids if they thought it was offensive, right? And most of these college kids said, yes, that's offensive, cultural appropriation, you shouldn't be wearing that. Oh, that's a horrible thing that you're doing. And then he went to an area with people from Mexico and asked them, are you offended by what I'm wearing? And most of the people who were from Mexico said, no, I think you look nice.
Yeah.
Right? And like,
The people who have a problem with things are usually the ones who are not affected by it.
yeah.
The people who are okay with it are the ones that they expect to be affected by it. With a lot of things.
And, you know, and
Sorry, go ahead.
they mean well for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Because they feel like, oh, well, you know, you shouldn't be hurting people's feelings and you need to be more careful about that. But if you're not being affected by it, and why are you kind of forcing your views on somebody without knowing anything?
And that's the
about it.
problem. They beat it into people's heads that they should be affected by it until these people go, well, yeah, I guess I am. I guess I should be. And the sad thing about that happening, you got a cause now. But think of how many great times you've dismissed. How many great things you've dismissed in your life that you used to think was part of life. And even enjoyable moments or funny or movies. We got into the thing when we watched, we did our show with one of our panelists, and it was about a movie. Was it Waiting, I think?
With the Fermunda cheese?
Yeah, and it was Waiting. It was on our gay show, and it was briefly we did
Yeah,
Waiting.
yeah.
And I thought the movie was funny, and one of our panelists enjoyed it too. And the guy on there, and I fully respect him, he was a great guy, but he pretty much said, this is why you should not like this movie anymore.
Yeah.
So you lose something you once enjoyed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not good to rip people's memories away of something they like. Things we enjoyed that were wrong, we know were wrong. But we also know we wouldn't necessarily do them.
Yeah.
You know, we don't take life lessons from comedy.
Well, and just because one person is offended by something doesn't mean everyone else has to be, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, you find that offensive, so don't.
And I
watch
can
it,
understand
right?
where you're
It's-
coming
yeah,
from.
I get what you're saying, but I don't find it offensive. I find it kind of funny. Like, I'm going to keep doing it, you know. I don't see, there shouldn't be a problem. If you find it offensive, if you find something that you see on TV offensive, stop watching that TV show.
Right.
Stop watching that, you know, that channel.
Yeah, there's
Stop
nothing
going to
hurting
that
you
website.
from not watching it anymore. But you're hurting a lot of people by telling them why they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there are certain shows or things that, yeah, they probably are a little outdated by today's standards and should be changed, that are obviously, whether they're racist or sexist or whatever it happens to be, there's an obvious point that, yeah, some of this stuff should probably be revamped or gotten rid of in some cases.
I will never not find Blazing Saddles hilarious.
Still one of the funniest fucking movies out there.
Right? But if they were to put that out in today's day, oh my God.
Look at fucking Goonies, man.
Oh, man.
But I can understand people who are offended by that movie.
Yeah.
Especially by that movie. But they forget that the movie was made. Blazing Saddles is definitely probably the most politically incorrect movie ever to exist.
On every front.
Yes, in absolutely a way. But it was meant to point out the flaws the same way these people are trying to point them out.
Right.
Yeah. They just use
And
comedy
we
to do
understood that. It was put in a comedy fashion so we would watch it. But yet we would understand truly that's how black people were treated. You know, in that case, when it was made. You can't not like it. You can see other sides of it, though. And I fully
and you
support
can
that.
learn from it while laughing. Right? Because you can laugh at it and then say, okay, no, that's kind of messed up. But, like, they made a joke of it almost to prove a point.
Yeah, we'll get Elena back, I think, in a minute. Bill says, I know a lot of women who were strippers some short amount of time. They don't want anyone to find out what they did. I should say, in fairness, when that photo was taken of me, I'm pretty sure she took a body shot photo. I don't think, and that's what she zoomed in and she caught it. I don't think she was intentionally trying to get my two best friends in the picture on there. So that's another reason why I kind of found it funny.
Right.
I started wearing underwear underneath my boxers after that. So I'm
Got to keep them boys in check.
yes. Jan says, I can be sarcastically funny, sexually funny, but I can also check myself on my funny if I'm around people that don't appreciate it. No problem. As Sheena would say, behave, Mom. And we all have different kinds of humor. Sarcastic, and I'm very flirtatious and sexual. I told you, one of these shows I mentioned a moment I had from doing it too much, that I realized maybe it's not funny to certain people. Apparently it still was. But that's the thing. And I'm very rude. I'm very cross. When I'm talking to people, I even do it on the show times, like, you're a fucking idiot or something like that. And it's never meant, and it's easier when you say it. People understand what you mean. And that goes back to the texting thing, too. You don't feel as much. But there are times I go back to people, I'm like, did I actually offend you? Because I gauge their reactions. Like, I didn't mean it. It's just me being me. And you have to be able to know how to do that, because at the same time, respect other people's funny. That's why I let mom jokes go right now. I used to tell your mama jokes, or people would say them to me and stuff, and you'd laugh or whatever. It was a thing. What's the best joke like that? Then my mom passed away, but I would used to say it to other people on occasion. They'd do, oh, my mom's dead. Oh, I feel so sad. Well, now my mom's dead too, and I hear it. And yeah, I get why you feel sad, but come on, appreciate the humor. Yeah. They're not saying it because they know these facts.
Well, and especially if they don't know, right?
Yeah,
if they don't know and you get upset about it, like, you have every right to be upset, but you also have to look at it. If they would have known that, they probably wouldn't have said that joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
The last time I said a your mama joke was to someone whose mom had just passed, and I was in middle school when that happened. Like, that's why I haven't said another one since then.
Right.
Because it really hurt that person. And I was like, I don't want to hurt anyone else like that.
And that's how I am. I will not say your mama joke anymore because of how I do feel about it. Mm-hmm. But I understand how I felt when I used to tell them when they didn't. People are not trying to hurt you. They're not trying to be mean in any way. Jan says, remember when Johnny Carson asked a guest that as guest on the show while she was holding her cat, can I eat your pussy? That was Zsa. And he said, can I pet your pussy? Johnny Carson it was Zsa Gabor on the show. He was sitting there and he says, in the middle of the live show, can I pet your pussy? And I forget what she said in response to it, but I do remember that. I do remember that on Carson. The good old days of the Tonight Show. Bill says, Keith is very everything. I am so very everything. It's not funny. I'm like too much of everything. Joe says, I can appreciate your mama jokes because I know my mama would have appreciated them. And that's absolutely right. And Joe, obviously by the name, is my brother. So, and the same way his mother passed the same time mine did, by coincidence.
What?
And yeah, it's weird. But my mom taught me how you can laugh at things. You know, realize the difference in humor and insult. And there is a difference. There's a difference in stereotyping somebody and insulting them for who they are. And once you figure that out, and that's why certain humor probably does have to go a little bit on the wayside. But let's not forget all the good times we had with it to begin with. People would nonstop laugh around me. And now I got to walk on eggshells with what I say. Not fucking fair. Because I'm still the same person. I'm not a racist, sexist, homophobe, anything like that, but I'll still make the jokes. I'm half gay, as you want to put it. I still tell gay jokes because they're funny.
Well,
The better half.
with jokes, I feel like people assume intent, right? If there's no malicious intent intended by saying the joke, it should be taken just as a joke, right? There should be no harm in saying jokes.
I
right?
understand
Laugh
with what
about
you
stuff.
guys are saying, but like for me, I don't want to ever put anyone in a situation where they feel uncomfortable. If that makes sense, like maybe they are taking it too harshly or anything, but it's still making that person uncomfortable.
But you never know what it can be.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
but where do we draw the line with that? Right,
Right, because-
where it
Like
gets
we
in
shouldn't
trouble.
make racist jokes. We shouldn't make like jokes about things
So
that
we can't
aren't
make any
funny.
jokes.
No, I'm not saying any
No.
jokes, but like racist jokes, they're not funny.
So I've
You haven't heard
some
them all,
funny
then.
racist jokes.
I'm not even trying to say that racist jokes are good. But there is comedy to be found. A lot of racist jokes were made by black comedians.
Yeah.
Right. I'll make
Like-
racist jokes about white people because you can't be racist against white people.
Yes, you can.
Okay,
No, you
right
can't.
there
You
is
could
the
be
problem, though.
You could be prejudiced against white people, but you cannot be
Same thing.
racist.
Same thing.
It's not the same thing. Look up the
Okay,
definitions.
well, let's... Okay, well...
Wrangle this in.
Yeah, Drina, what is half gay confused? I'm sorry. I'm bisexual, Drina. So that's the easiest way to put it. It's actually something else, but that's the easiest way to put it. So I don't care. That's what it means on there. But I'll still make jokes about gay people because some of them are funny. You know, comedy is based on finding reality and twisting it to a humorous side and viewing it from a humorous side. It's all based on reality. But pretty much people who are against it are saying you can't base it on facts and reality anymore. You know, it's got to be back to childhood comedy, which was good to a point. Richard Pryor, Joe says, oh, by the way, Bill, is obviously by the name Joe's middle name. Yes, it is. This is Joe, obviously by the name Litfin. Richard Pryor is a perfect example of black comedians creating black humor. That white people and black... I don't want to get a lot into the racism thing because it's not about racism at that point. But they created that humor, and white people and black people both found it funny. You know, they were filled... His stadiums were filled with black people watching his show. It was usually a bigger black audience than even a white audience, for Richard Pryor being an example. And it was funny stuff. And then people expect you can't take the humor that he had a full stadium or theater laughing at, and you can't share that humor with somebody else. And that's not always right.
Right. I think we were just all better at seeing our individual nature, seeing our differences, and being able to appreciate and laugh at our differences. And that's changed vastly.
Yes.
You know, it's also the limit of what to do, and that's when it comes to racial jokes primarily, and even some blonde jokes, I guess, or stuff like that. There's certain that are. You tell a joke about a black person in a tree, it is offensive and wrong. You shouldn't do that. You know, that is something that is a very bad joke. But if you're talking about dance moves, as they do with white people as well, that's kind of a funny thing. They kind of all share it together. There's limits to going from racist to stereotyping. And in a joke, I think stereotyping is partly important. That's where blonde jokes and your mama jokes and all that come from.
Yeah.
Sure.
But not offensively racist. Bill says, Jim Freeman used it all the time, but people knew what they were walking into. And that's important, too, if people know you. Adrena says, what's bisexual? followed by question.
Do you want me to do this one, or do you want to do this one?
We'd have sex with anybody on this panel. Now, it's like, I would, because for her it wouldn't prove anything. Yeah. But for me,
Oh, that's funny.
and she also says, in joking, we find comedy in our likes, dislikes, and differences. That is exactly the point. And the last word is the most important one. Comedy is found in the differences. It's things that, even if you're the different one, it's something that other people get to look at in a different way. That is how we found comedy. I miss true comedy. Because people are walking around shit, and they're too edgy, or they can't do anything if they have to bring in one joke like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's where comedy comes from, Trina. I like having you on here. That was a really good one.
I like Ricky Gervais and Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Those guys are hilarious. Mm-hmm. And
Yes.
they're at the point where they're like, look, you clicked on my name on Netflix or paid to watch this, so if you don't like it, bye. This is
No, and I
this is
get
what
all
do.
that, and I agree with all of that. I'm saying if I'm just out with a group of friends, or not even a group of friends, if I'm just around a group of people, I'm not going to make jokes that, they might not think is funny.
Well,
If
yeah,
that
you
makes
still
sense.
pay attention to your audience. I mean,
Well, of course.
if you're a
Right,
white guy
as
in a
far as
stand-up club, you don't
comedians
tell
go,
racist
yes.
jokes to a club full of black people.
yeah.
You know, you still base what you say based on the people
Don't
around
pull a
you.
Kramer.
Yeah. And Adrena also says that once you learn how to laugh at yourself, everybody can get it. And
And I
we
agree with
talked
that, too.
briefly. We talked on one of our shows really recently about this, that laughing at yourself was wrong. And I'm like, to a point it is, but to a point it's also not. You have to understand how you feel and what you mean at the same time. You have to know, you have to be able to make fun of yourself, because for some people it means that was my thing, there's nobody off limits. If you're black, white, straight, gay, male, female, I'm going to make fun of you. And if you're fat, skinny, including myself, I'm going to make fun of me. You know, if it's funny, you can say it. If it is offensive and meant with no other purpose than to hurt an individual, you should not.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to ask
Well,
yourself.
and that's where the intent comes in, right?
Right.
If you're saying
Yeah.
it just to joke around, it should, and it can be taken that way. Yep. But if you want to hurt somebody, then clearly don't say that.
Bill, that's one of my favorite shows of all time, still to this day, even with Aisha Tyler, even though I think Drew Carey was the best host. I love Aisha now, too. Whose Line Is It Anyway?
I
Great
just started
fucking
watching
show.
that a couple days ago on
yeah.
HBO Max. I started from season 1, and I got
Which
to the 100th
season
episode.
one did you go to? UK or US? They're
US.
both really good.
I
They're
went to
both
the
really
US.
good. Yeah. Drew Carey, I think, had the best chemistry with everybody, but that's a great show. Whose Line?
Those
Because he
guys
knew
are
them,
fun.
Yeah, but he got in on it a lot of times. A lot of people would make fun back at Drew. And I think when Aisha first got on there, well, she was a black woman. And I think because of that show and the way it is, that the cast members were kind of on eggshells as how they could have the same kind of fun they used to have with Drew. But now they've come to their own. They join each other all the time, and it's great.
Was
She
Wayne
found her
Brady
own.
on that one? On the newest one?
Yeah, Wayne Brady's still on. Colin, Ryan, and Wayne are the returning ones. Every once in a while, Greg Proops, Chip Eston, and all them do make comebacks. But yeah, they're still on there, and they are the best.
Colin's my fave.
Colin and Ryan together are my faves. Anything
Oh,
they do
man.
with just those two is going to be hilarious. Cole Orton says, "Are offensive jokes an arrestable offense over there? Over here, that get you arrested." I don't think they're an arrestable offense. I didn't know that, though. Over there, you can be arrested in England for...
No, but you could definitely get your life destroyed by it over here.
Yeah.
Or threatened.
Yes, you can. They're not an arrestable offense over here, but yeah, you're right. It can definitely change things, and you could definitely be killed if you're in the wrong city. Bill says, first time he met me, I said he is my nemesis, and I haven't let up, and that is true, Bill. You are my nemesis. You will always be my nemesis. But I will say this, you're an awesome nemesis.
Nemesis.
He's an awesome nemesis.
Oh.
All right. Well, this has been our open forum show, and we're going to finish, of course, with the past life. We didn't get to any of our other segments that we were going to do, which is fine, because that is the point of the open forum. We have filler if we need it, not because we require it. We really like talking to everybody else out there, which was great. But one of the things that I want to actually bring up right now, as far as passive life, the things you can do to try to be happier, is something we actually ended up touching on, even though I'd already planned to say it, and that is reaching out. A lot of times, especially during the pandemic, we don't feel we have anybody around. We feel isolated. We feel alone. And we forget that everybody else around us feels the exact same way. But we never make that attempt to reach out. Get on your phone, scroll to the bottom of that list, and see who you haven't talked to in years that you just somehow lost connection with. No argument, no nothing. You just faded off your conversation and ended up not texting back. Message them. Call them. Reach out to people. Your life can be happier. The people are still there, and they're probably equally waiting to reach out for you. Don't play that game of who will do it first. Be the one to do it first, because they're probably waiting equally for it. Don't be afraid to. When you meet people and you're talking to them, ask them, hey, do you mind if I call you sometime? Ask them, you should come over sometime and go swimming, or you should come over for a barbecue, or anything you want to do. You can do that socially distanced. It's becoming a little easier to do nowadays. So take those steps. Try. Don't be afraid, because most people are dealing with the same things you are. You just don't know it, because we all fail to actually reach out. And that's my tip, is make sure you reach out to everybody on there. Bill says he is the trivia king, by the way. Whatever.
Depends.
And Pam says, I don't give a fuck what people say about me. And if they're talking about me, then they are leaving everyone else alone. I know the show is mostly done. I want to hit that because it's something I really can relate to. I used to feel that if I'm the butt of the joke, I know how to handle it. Doesn't bother me. And it's better than giving it to other people that don't know how to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me says, if you're talking about me, then I made an impact and you're thinking about me, which is what everybody should always be doing. So I'm partly for it. But at the same time, I often think if I'm the butt of the joke, I don't have to worry. I don't have the fear of me doing anything stupid because they're joking about me. I'll laugh and get along. What other people do. And Pam also says she reaches out to everybody. And when I said you sounded like me describing me, I was talking about Keith. You were talking about me. Aw, thank you, Pam. That's the thing. That is, when you're saying things, when you said it through the show so far, I've been like, yeah, that really relates. You've hit a lot of places, so I have a feeling you're definitely going through what I'm going through in a lot of ways right now, and I appreciate that. Don't forget, while you're here, to like, share, subscribe, and follow, and hide comments so you can see it. To Ear Shoulder Voice on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We're on all those. Our website, earshouldervoice.com, is available for you as well. Actually, that is getting a major overhaul, and Ear Shoulder Voice, I'm going to announce it now, is becoming a full social network that we're going to have just people who want to talk to each other with all sorts of problems with no fear. They don't have to be your friends. They don't have to be anything like that. Just a social network to communicate and talk to everybody. And it's almost done now, but there's some changes going on the website. So that'll be really cool. Don't forget that you can always call into the shows when you want to and be on here briefly. If you have something to say, you can do it by audio or video. Chat live with us during all our shows. We're happy to have you, but most importantly, you can chat anytime. Go to our Facebook page, go on Facebook Messenger. You got something on your mind you want to talk about and you don't have anybody you want to talk about with, message Ear Shoulder Voice. We will talk to you. Doesn't matter what the problem is, how simple it may seem to you, or how extreme, we'll be there for you. Unless it's a life-saving emergency, then we're definitely going to try to direct you to the right place. But in general, any other topic, we're here for you. Same with the website. You can do it anonymously if you go on there. Kisses from Jam. So thank you for that. Coming up on our next show is I Need a Break, Mental and Physical Escapes. This is going to take place on Wednesday, April 28th, this coming Wednesday. It's all about when you've just had so much stress in life, you've got to get away. And I don't think there's a person out there right now that doesn't feel this way. Whether your escape happens to be going on vacation, whether it happens to be in your head, whether it happens to be binge watching a TV show, or even gummies I didn't get into. I had my first gummies. So I was like, even that, whatever it's going to be for your escape, what do you use? How do you deal with it? How do you get back on track? And how important are those escapes in your life? We'll be talking about that. Other than that, that's been pretty much everything for our open forum. Loved having everybody here. Anthony, amazing as always. It ain't an open forum without you. Well, it is, but it's without you. Pam says thanks. Loved it.
So scratch that. Never mind.
So scratch that. It's
Without
still-
you.
It's still a show without you, but you enhance it quite a bit, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you, Keith.
Same with you, Elena. And I'm just gonna group you guys together, Elena and Gabe. It's both the same way. As I said to Anthony, you guys really add a lot to this. Good conversations, good fun, good flow. But most importantly, more than thanking you guys, I want to thank the chat. The chat is the most important thing we have on here because we love talking to you. We love hearing about what's going on in your life, and we love being there. And we also love that when something's going on in our lives and that we talk about it, you also respond because you help us as much as we help you. The show is nothing without you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I am Keith Litfin for Ear, Shoulder, Voice. This has been a great show. We look forward to seeing you again on Wednesday for our topic show and our next open forum next Sunday. You all have a great night. Take care.
You too.
Have a good one.
Hey guys, Keith Litfin here for Ear, Shoulder, Voice. While you're here, why don't you like, share, subscribe, and follow so you can be notified of all our new broadcasts that we're bringing to you live every week and live chat during the show. You can also head on over to www.earshouldervoice.com, find out more information, suggest topics you'd like to see our panel discuss, and even apply to be a guest panelist yourself. Well, we missed the What They Did What Now, and we missed the B-side, and we missed
That's all
Couch
right.
Potato.
Save it.
That
Save it
was
for
a
next
good
week.
show.
That's good. Well, they were actually developed just so we could have them on occasion and ready for it. This was a good show.
For sure.
I liked it. It was absolutely awesome. Lots of engagement, lots of people in the chat.
Oh, yeah.
I was
love
actually,
that.
for the first time, having a really hard time keeping up. I was like,
Yeah, I saw that.
I had to change mine to see only the private chat because I was reading it before and laughing. I was like, I don't want to laugh at something serious potentially.
I do that on occasion. Yeah. I do that occasionally. I'll be on here and somebody will be telling this really deep story and then a funny comment will come in or I'll catch it. It might have come in before the story started and I'll laugh. I'm like, I'm not laughing at you, sorry.
Yeah.
Right. It's like Bill just said something weird. I'm sorry. You guys can't see it yet.
You
but
guys
it's
will know in
coming.
a little bit why I'm laughing.
Right.
Yeah. It's like it's just Bill. We'll get back to it. Bill's he's our escape because we just say Bill and most of our audience goes, "Oh, Bill." Okay, yeah, we understand.
Oh, Bill. Yeah.
Has to do with
It's
sex.
Bill. We'll see it. We'll see it. Something has to do with sex, drinking, or fighting. Probably
Or
all
white
three.
trash.
Or white trash.
But you can't type it.
Right.
cannot
you gotta do
type
the
it.
stars.
I still can't believe he ever got booted for that stuff.
That doesn't
It's been a good
surprise
week.
me.
I missed your. We didn't talk about children in peril, but I wanted to get to that, Gabe. So we'll probably reserve that for next week if you're on here.
Which one?
Real reactions to children in peril or danger or something happen.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, it's got a natural flow to it, so
Yeah.
everything sort of changes. It's organic. the
Well,
way
it's
supposed to
growing,
be.
so we can stop. We won't have to pick as many topics as we were before to keep us ready if we go. Because as long as we got people in the chat, because ultimately, I want the chat, which they're here right now because we're still live, to drive the show.
Run the show.
That's why
You
I
know.
said we had a
Yeah.
productive show because we
drive
didn't
it.
have to use any of the filler material.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Usually one or two to get it started, and then people will go in. But no, it's been great. I love our chat. I love our people, and I'm not going to open that because we might use it next week.
I know. There's a sneak. You can just show it. The sneak peek for next week.
Okay, next Sunday, that will be part of it. We don't know what it's going to be,
Oh,
but that'll be
geez.
part of it next Sunday. I'll make sure
There you
you
go.
get
The
this
suspense
segment.
is killing me.
It's been awesome.